Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm presenting a model that's slightly different from what I usually do. It's not a beautiful classic car or a historically significant car. It's actually my family's car. It's a 2017 Chrysler Pacifica in white with the black interior. I thought it would be a fun exercise to try to build a car that I've actually spent a lot of time in, a car that I've driven and that I know inside and out, and try to recreate some of the features that I know well from it in Lego. And there's actually quite a lot of interesting stuff you can do with the minivan, so that's what we're going to explore today. One of the most fun challenges with this build was the doors. The front doors are fairly conventional, but the rear doors slide. And I eventually got this to slide fairly well. It uses a track here in the bottom groove, which runs along, there's this pin that runs along a track. And then at the top here we've got this axle, which becomes more and more stressed as the door moves back. And that means firstly that the door stays tight toward the body, which is necessary, and also that once you get to this point it feels like it wants to snap into place. So I'm fairly happy with that. And then in terms of exterior features, we've also got an opening bonnet. There's a V6 under there, which we'll get to in a minute. And we've also got an opening trunk. In order to get some good access into the interior, I've removed the roof. The first thing, let's look at these doors again, because we can get a better access to how it looks. As you can see, as we move it back, this axle here starts to twist, and that's what keeps it snug, and then down there it just runs along these rails, and that works fairly well, like I showed earlier. And then let's get to the seats. So one of the Chrysler's big features is that it has these stow and go seats, and I can demonstrate that here. So you just fold up a section of the floor here, then you can fold the seat all the way down into the floor. And that's how this seat is now. And we can also remove it and move it up just by doing this. And then we can also fold down this piece of floor. And I think it's a really handy feature, and I'm glad that I got it in Lego. And the very back seats work in a similar way. Fold the backrest, and they fold down into the trunk. And lastly, we also have an adjustable steering wheel inside the cabin. I've demolished this thing even further so that we can get a good look at the chassis and some of the more technical features of the car. So the steering wheel has working steering, and we've also got working front-wheel drive with a V6 piston engine. There's no space in a model like this for suspension, and to be honest, I think it's unnecessary with all the other features that I've managed to pack into a relatively compact thing. But the piston engine works away quite nicely. I'll now flip over the car and show you how I managed to get this transverse mounted setup in here. As with any model, I wanted to really focus on getting it as compact as possible, but I also wanted to use this transverse differential rather than the normal one, which is meant for longitudinal engine setups. So this is 4 wide, and the best way that I could really fit into it is just using these half-width beams to support it on either side, and it ended up working very well. Now you might also see that there's this shaft running along here. This is a kind of hand of God steering, which does work if you can put your hand all the way in the back of the car, and I have left a little bit of body work open in there. I'll show you that in a second. But I'm really happy with how this, in this super compact little area, manages to twist the crankshaft. So there's this little slot at the rear where we can fit in this axle, and that allows us to do a bit of hand of God steering. So that's about it for this model. It's perhaps not my finest work in terms of exterior detailing, but it was really fun to build and it came together quite quickly. I really enjoyed this and I'm fairly pleased with how it turned out. That's about it. I would just like to say thank you though for 1,000 subscribers. We crossed that a few weeks ago. It really means a lot to me, although it was never my intention to gain subscribers or to gain a certain number of views. It surprised me how much that mattered to me when we did cross it. And it's really wonderful to see that these videos, which I essentially just made as a way to document the models that I just built for fun, for myself, these videos are being enjoyed by lots of other people and seemingly inspiring others, and that's just wonderful to see. I can't thank you guys enough, and well, thank you. See you next time.